challenges of our time. We do it by embracing freedom and liberty. There may be no such thing as a free lunch, but this hour is as close as it gets. Welcome to A Free Solution.
Welcome to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host today. Thank you so much for joining us. We're live here at WYSL until 2 p.m. Give us a call if you want to participate in the show. 585-346-3000. That's 585-346-3000. Or if you're listening online, of course, too, we are streaming on a Free Solution Facebook page, a Free Solution YouTube channel, the Free Solution Facebook group, and the Kevin Wilson pages, wherever you're listening today. We, by which I mean I, and all the folks at the station, we all appreciate you being here. Leave your comments if you want to participate in the show there, too. We're talking about all different parts of New York State legislation today. Some new stuff coming down the pipe, what it means, and what we can do about it in terms of continuing to advocate for our freedom. I know we're most folks who are libertarian don't have a lot of options in New York State. Luckily, we hopefully will be getting a libertarian option on the ballot. I know our friend Larry Sharp, who is the Tuesday host of the show, turned in well over, as I understand, the number of signatures necessary to get on the ballot. So excited to see that option for those of us who may not want to vote Democrat or Republican in this upcoming gubernatorial election. So hopefully, if the major parties don't find some weird excuse to kick them off, which they can, I think Larry's team is prepared for it, though. So I'm excited to see that. I see we got Tim O'Connor listening on Facebook, says, "What's up, Kevin?" Hey, Tim, thanks for listening today. So let's get into it, though. Let's talk about some of the legislation that's coming through. Of course, there's stuff coming through on guns. We'll see probably more of that over the next few legislative sessions too. Stuff coming through on abortion, stuff coming through on possibly birth control stuff, which is interesting, although I haven't seen much news about that. And a few other things as well. So we'll talk about all those issues today. Again, if you want to weigh in on either the legislation, the bills that I'm talking about, or you have something that I haven't talked about yet, again, give us a call, 585-346-3000. That's 585-346-3000. Talking about New York State legislation today. We also got Shelly listening on YouTube. Hey, Shelly, thank you for joining us here on today's show. So the gun laws, right? So the first one that looks like it's going to be coming through is requiring people who purchase a rifle to be 21 years of age and also require a license for that. There's a few things coming through, but this is one that I think is catching a lot of attention. And the reason it caught my attention is in part because do you have the right? Are you fully an adult at 18 years of age? You can go join the military. You can vote. You can't drink, which I think you probably should be able to. You should be allowed to drink if you can vote and you can join the military. New York State wants to make it so that you cannot purchase a rifle. You can't purchase a gun, and this is in direct response to both the shooting at the Buffalo Tops and the shooting down in Texas too, both done by 18-year-olds. And so the idea is that, we need to raise the age. 18-year-olds shouldn't have that right. Maybe they're not mature enough, whatever the justification is, they shouldn't have the right. We're going to make it harder for them to do that. The part that strikes me as strange about like this particular proposal is that it was just struck down in California. California tried to do this already. There's a court case only a few weeks ago. I'm looking at an NPR story from May 11th. It says that the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals had, in a 2-1 ruling, said that the ban California's ban on the sale of semi-automatic weapons to adults under age 21 was unconstitutional and it violated the Second Amendment. So this is already happened. So what's going to end up happening here is that it's going to get tied up in courts. And they know this. Again, it's I don't know if this has always been a thing or, if I'm just noticing it more where politicians, at the executive level and, at the legislative level will push through legislation that they know darn well is going to get tied up in courts, but they're hoping that they can either squeeze it through or make a new argument or, wiggle their way around in order to do something that appears unconstitutional. I've called out the Biden administration for doing it. I've called out the Trump administration for doing it. Certainly talked about it in New York State a bit, but this is going to end up consuming our resources because it's not like they're paying for court fees out of their own pocket. And it may, well, it will likely block the right, unless there's an immediate injunction on this, it will block the right for 18, 19, and 20-year-olds to be able to purchase a weapon, and it blocks their right to self-defense. Again, I understand, as I've said on past shows, like why people want an immediate solution to this, why this seems like a straightforward thing. But do 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds have the same rights as adults in this case? Do they have a right to self-defense in the same way that any of the rest of us age 21 and over do? And that's gonna be the question, I'm sure, before the courts there. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not gonna. I don't know like exactly what legal stuff will go into it. And I'm sure if there's anyone listening, but again, please call in 585-346-3000 if you have an inkling on what way this might go. But it's immediately going to come into town. It's like we know this. We know what's going to happen. It's just going to get chewed up in lawsuits. And like, to me, it's like you should have a right to do that. I think there are solutions that I would want to explore to make sure you keep guns out of hands out of truly dangerous people. I don't particularly agree with how New York State always approaches the red flag laws, but I get if there are warning signs that someone is going to hurt someone, that they are truly dangerous. I get wanting to do something about that. It's interesting when the new bills that is going through. It's the bill number is A6716-A, or the Senate version S89B, and it creates the crimes of making a threat of mass harm and aggravated making a threat of mass harm. It's interesting. Again, I haven't looked at the details of this one, but I did see and that seems kind of reasonable to me. But maybe the devil's in the details. Again, it's the First Amendment has limitations on the government criminalizing speech unless there is a specific threat, a specific and immediate threat of harm. So it'll be interesting to see if this passes that. I mean, again, it doesn't seem necessarily unreasonable if you have someone who is making a credible threat and one that they may intend to carry out. Should that be a criminal activity? Should it be an activity that puts a pause on your ability to be able to fire to acquire a gun? Maybe it shouldn't. Again, I kind of lean towards like maybe that's a reasonable way to approach this is folks who are threatening violence publicly in a way that law enforcement and other individuals are aware of. Maybe there should be some limitation on their right if they're threatening folks. But I could be wrong about this. I might not see the full scope of legal pitfalls or constitutional pitfalls in that one. Again, give us a call, 585-346-3000 if I'm missing something here. I do want to get to this comment from Brian, who points out, he says an armed West Virginia woman stops a mass shooting. And again, if you're listening online, you can follow the link that he posted there from National Review. Yeah, there's a man who I guess attacked a party with a rifle, and a woman stopped it like almost immediately. Again, that's a private citizen taking action right there, right away. And that's why, in part, we want the right to self-defense, because there are bad folks like that who are going to get a weapon and try to hurt people. And that is a quick way to bring a resolution to that awful violent situation. Is a person took decisive action using their right to self-defense. And that's these types of cases are things that we should talk about. We should elevate and use this to highlight the reasons why we need to continue to preserve that right to self-defense in New York State. Because the way things could go, many of you are heard and have talked about what's going on in Canada with Prime Minister Trudeau trying to completely shut down the sale or transfer of handguns. The Biden administration, for their part, said they're not interested in do that. They don't have the political clout to do that, for sure. But that's something that a lot of politicians on the gun control side could get to if we let it go far enough. There's a reason why Joe Biden doesn't feel like he has the political power to do that. It's because we make known the rights that we have. He knows he can't pull it off. It's too far away. But if we keep letting the Overton window shift on this issue, that's when the danger comes. That's when people like Justin Trudeau, where gun culture is not as well established in Canada, can do things like that or attempt to do things. Thanks again for joining us here on A Free Solution. Again, give us a call. Talking New York State legislation today, 585-346-3000. That's 585-346-3000. We're going to be back in just a few minutes. Talk to you soon.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovation should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Oh, those injury attorney ads.
Hurt on your couch? Call 555-OUCH.
It's kind of cute watching that injury attorney buying breakfast for a crash test dummy, but while fun is fun, there's nothing amusing about getting your life back together after a personal injury or a motorcycle accident, or when you need defense for a DWI charge. Christopher Johnson takes your case seriously, and you'll feel like you're his only client because when you meet with him, your case gets 100% of his attention. So instead of cute singing jingles and magic phone numbers,
fall out of a tree? Call 33333.
write this number down and keep it with you. 585-415-3803. 415-3803. After all, Christopher Johnson knows you're no dummy. Get individual attention and integrity, experience, and expertise. Put the power of one on your legal team. 415-3803. Stay safe, be healthy, drive sober. Christopher Johnson Attorney, personal injury, car or motorcycle accidents, DWI defense.
As a veteran of the United States military, I can finally get the opportunity to enjoy special events, things that we couldn't afford, thanks to VetTix. Every empty seat at a concert, a game, or a play is a missed opportunity to say thanks to a veteran and service member. We can give our veterans a special event where they too can create their own cherished memories. Visit vettix.org. Find out how you can make a difference in a veteran's life.
Only available in the WYSL store at WYSL1040.com. Official top quality tees, hoodies, and coffee mugs depicting the colorful WYSL logo or the already famous Mount Worstmore line of merch depicting Mount Rushmore style are for worst presidents. Of course, you know who is front and center up on that mountain. WYSL official items make perfect gifts, or they're a great way for you to make a personal statement. Locally produced and sold only in the WYSL store at WYSL1040.com.
A free solution on the WYSL stations.
Welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thanks again for joining us. Again, we're live here on WYSL until 2 p.m. Give us a call, 585-346-3000, if you want to join the conversation. Of course, we have friends listening online too. I didn't give a shout out to Steve Becker, who's listening. Him giving a shout out to Larry Sharps, as Larry leads Sharp Solutions. Right on, right on. Thanks for listening, Steve. Appreciate you being here today. Again, if you're listening on the radio, I don't know if you're listening. I don't know if you're participating in the show. Give us a call, 585-346-3000. That's 585-346-3000 if you want to join the discussion. All right, so we talked about the ban on people ages 18, 19, and 20 being able to get a rifle, a restriction on their right to self-defense. And again, I always make this point whenever I'm talking about the Second Amendment, whenever we're talking about rights. The Second Amendment, remember, does not give you the right to bear arms. It doesn't give you the right to self-defense. You already have that right. That is a natural right. It is inherent. Whether it's God-given or it's natural, whatever, you have the right to self-defense because you are a person and you exist, no matter who you are. The Second Amendment restricts the government from infringing on that right. That's all it does. We already have that right. Doesn't matter what the government does. Second Amendment restricts the ability to do that legally, and any infringement on that right would go against constitutional law. Of course, that's not going to stop folks from trying, though. Again, plenty of other legislation that's going to come through here too. The microstamping thing, may end up getting through. I don't know if it's going to get through now. I haven't checked the latest status of this. There's also stuff about sharing more information across agencies. So sharing, if someone recovers a weapon in a crime, sharing that with state police and requiring them to share it with ATF and other federal agencies. That part of that doesn't seem totally unreasonable to me. Again, if anyone knows differently that does seem unreasonable, give me a call or comment online, because in Rochester, in many major cities, one of the big things with crime that happens here is people aren't legally going out and buying guns. It's not the legal gun owners that end up being the issue causing gun crime in our area. It's illegal guns. It's people who are getting guns that were stolen, sometimes locally, sometimes out of state, and then those are then used in crimes. And I get wanting to trace and hold people responsible for the security of their weapons, both at the gun shop level and at the individual level. If you are not securing your weapon when not in use and it gets stolen, you're being irresponsible. And if that weapon is then used in a crime, it's not totally on you, obviously, that person decided to take a hateful action to take or try to take someone's life, but you do have a responsibility as a gun owner to make sure that your stuff doesn't get stolen. I know if you're a victim of a crime and you did everything you could, that's one thing, but if you're being negligible about it, come on, do better. They can hurt someone. Moving on to some of the other legislation, though, there's the one that's interesting. Is it's Assembly Bill 7865A. There's a Senate Bill 4511A, and it requires social media networks in New York to provide a clear and concise policy regarding how they would respond to instances of hateful conduct on their platform and maintain easily accessible mechanisms for reporting hateful conduct on these platforms. Now, this is another in a line of bills trying to regulate social media companies. We've seen it from the progressive side, but we've seen it from the conservative side too. And I do want to get into that, but we do have a phone call. So I want to give that listener a chance to speak and join the discussion. John from Rochester. John.
Hey, Kevin. Yeah,
hey,
I just
John.
wanted to talk about these gun restrictions, etc. We have restrictions in place.
We do.
The thing I don't hear is fortifying the schools, putting not only single entrances, maybe metal detectors in all the schools. You don't hear very much about that, and also having a SWAT team type situation. I know you're a Buffalo Bills fan. I go to all the Bills games, and over the last year or so, they have a SWAT team with automatic weapons. And I'll tell you,
what good did that do to school in Texas?
Well, number one, a single entrance. They didn't have a single entrance. They had the back door that was left open.
It turns out the police were lying about that. Actually, the police lied about that entrance being left open by a teacher.
Well, if you make it prohibited to get into the back door and fortify the single entrance with a SWAT team type person with an automatic weapon,
that's what you want our schools to look like, John. John, like really, like you want like elementary school kids to have to walk by.
Yeah, I see elementary school. I see elementary school kids at Buffalo Bills games, and they're not frightened by that. Come on.
I mean, like, it's going to make schools feel more like prisons.
Well,
even more like, I mean, and I got a comment on Facebook too. It says schools are not prisons. From John.
Tell that to the dead kids and the parents of the dead kids in Texas and in Buffalo.
The cops are there for an hour. They didn't engage them. They just. I'm not mad at you, John. I'm mad at the police officers.
I understand.
Who failed to protect.
Let me make
kids.
another point, Kevin. We'll agree to disagree on that. My first point. The second point is, over the weekend I watched the Terminator 2 with what's his name, the former governor. I can't think of his. But it's not important.
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Schwarzenegger, right.
Mm-hmm.
Then I watched a movie called, I think it's No Country for Old Men, and the violence, the shootings are just unbelievable. And almost any movie that you see today, the violence is unbelievable as far as gun violence goes. And I got to believe this has an impact, not on you or me, but people that have some mental issues. Well, they watch these movies, and it's got to give them an incentive to commit this type of crime. It's unbelievable. And in a lot of ways, like Rambo. Rambo is portrayed as a good guy, right? But he blew away a lot of people. And I love Rambo. But if you're a mentally deficient person, you have a point to prove, let's say against blacks or school children, you're going to take that as encouragement. And I really think that our political leaders should they should defund, starting in New York State with the pension funds, let's defund the entertainment industry because of the violence they portrayed, whether it's the game industry or the movie industry. I don't hear anything from the left on that, anything. I hear a little bit on the right, but not a lot. What are your thoughts?
There have been a number of studies that suggest both violent movies and violent video games don't lead to people being more violent. In fact, almost the opposite is true. That's a way for people to be able to channel that. Humans overall have been far less violent over the last 30 years, particularly in the United States. It doesn't seem like it, but they've been far less violent in the last, several decades than we have been at any other time in history. I just don't think it's moved. Now, where I'd agree with you, but for entirely different reasons, we should probably stop subsidizing movie production in New York State. That would be great. The studios don't need that. They don't need to take our money for that. But I don't know that's the solution here. And John, I appreciate your call, and I want to address your points about some of the security points in schools too, because I've talked about that on a show, on an online only show. But we'll talk about that when we get back. Thanks again, folks, for listening today. Give us a call, 585-346-3000. That's 585-346-3000. We'll be back in just a minute here on A Free Solution.
Celebrating 35 years.
WYSL.
AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. We'll see showers and storms clear up. It will turn cooler. We'll drop down into the 50s on Thursday. We'll see partly to mostly cloudy skies. Could be a shower late in the day. Temperature is only near 70 on Friday. Morning clouds will give way to sunshine. Temperatures near 70, and we should have some nice weather into the weekend. Mostly sunny and dry both Saturday and Sunday. I'm Rich Cornelia, WYSL.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Great outdoor spaces start at Springwater Amish Workshop with premium quality and selection of outdoor furniture pieces, storage sheds, and gazebos. Springwater Amish Workshop has items that will make your outdoor living a delight to the eye, comfortable and worry-free. Shop in-stock picnic tables, garden benches, rocking chairs, swings and gliders, plus Adirondack chairs made from durable poly in your choice of colors or from double kiln-dried, organically treated southern yellow pine. Whatever your choice, it'll be sure to complement your outdoor spaces. Summer will be here soon, so don't delay. Springwater Amish Workshop offers a full line of storage sheds, gazebos, and chicken coops in a variety of styles and sizes. Our storage sheds have the best warranty in the business. Pricing includes delivery within a 40-mile radius of Springwater. Springwater Amish Workshop, 7936 Mill Street, Springwater. Open 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, Saturday, 9 to 3. Check our website at www.springwateramishworkshop.com.
Bratwurst, Bauernwurst, Kartoffelsalat, Sauerkraut, Leberkäse, Kirsche Torte. Fellow veterans, when I was stationed in Germany, time off was spent at the local festivals. People were friendly, food was great, and the Hefeweizen waged a continuous battle against my waistline.
The 87th Annual German Festival is Sunday, June 12th.
This is as authentic as you can get. The food, the desserts, and the beer. A German festival run by real Germans. All veterans and current active duty personnel with ID get in for free between 11 and 1,300 hours. This gets you there in time to see the American Legion carry in the colors. Take Route 5 and 20 between Lima and West Bloomfield and follow the signs. Tell them Captain Falk sent you. Prost, Prost, Bundespost. Bratwurst, Bauernwurst, Kartoffelsalat, Sauerkraut, Leberkäse, Kirsche Torte. Bratwurst, Bauernwurst, Kartoffelsalat, Sauerkraut, Leberkäse, Kirsche Torte.
Und Bier.
You can get both savings and selection when you shop Victor Chevrolet. Celebrate warmer weather. Lease a 2022 Chevy Trax LT for just $209 a month for 36 months. If you need a pickup, get the versatility of a 2022 Chevy Silverado for just $389 a month for 36 months. The 22 Chevy Equinox is only $259 a month for 36 months. These lease deals include returning less in rebate. All factory rebates, incentives, and discounts are applied. Security deposit is waived. 10,000 mile allowance per year, 25 cents each additional mile. Must Must have lease and household. Tier 1 credit approval required. Lessee responsible for repair and maintenance. Conditions apply. Get details at dealer. Victor Chevrolet has a used selection that can't be beat. Be sure to trust your vehicle to our Chevy Certified Service Department. The spring cleanup special includes wash, wax, interior vacuum, and tire shine for just $189.95. Come see how easy it is to do business with us. Find new roads at Victor Chevrolet, Route 96 in Victor. Visit victorchevrolet.com.
Here comes The Bloom. Celebrate spring with a brilliant car of annuals. Everything you need for your gardens and beds. Farm fresh produce too. 7 days a week at J&A Farm Market and Greenhouses. Route 15 just south of exit 9 off 390. J&A, always blooming.
Whether you're in the suburbs, the country, or the city, and no matter what kind of home you live in, Isaac can help make you comfortable. Right now, get a Lennox air conditioner for 0% interest for up to 60 months. Visit IsaacHeating.com today.
A free solution on the WYSL stations.
Welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host today. Thanks again for joining us. Again, we're here on WYSL until 2 p.m. and, of course, online at the Free Solution Facebook page, Free Solution YouTube channel, and the Kevin Wilson pages. And but we do have a phone call on the line. But before we get to it, just really quick, I wanted to address one of John's points because I talked about it on our Thursday show, online only show with Tim, and we talked about hardening security points at schools. A lot of schools do already operate this way. Like after the initial opening of the school, once classes have started, you have to go through a single entrance in most places, sign in, they'll buzz you in through doors like that. That's usually how it works, and that's not infallible. But if you have a campus that's spread out where students need to be able to move easily between classrooms, finding ways to secure those doors is a good thing to do, and what many schools are doing. And it's going to be interesting to see what exactly happens with this school in Texas, because it looks like the police may have lied about the teacher propping the door in this situation. And unfortunately, the police have lied about several aspects of what have happened here. And it is, my goodness, I am infuriated, and I've got to calm myself down before going on the radio because I want to say some words that I'm not allowed to say about that police department. It is so cowardly. It is absolutely enraging the way that they acted in failing to save those kids when they were in a position to do so. It's one thing if they couldn't get there, is a different thing when they were there. They knew where the shooter was. They had him in a classroom with children who were still alive and asking for help, begging for help, and they did not intervene. It is absolutely enraging, and so they need to face very serious consequences for what they've done. So I just want to bring that up. I want to get to a comment too. John says banning guns works well in other countries. Why is the UK trying to ban knives now? Another good point. But I've gone on long enough. Douglas from Dansville, are you still on the line?
Yes.
All right. Thanks for calling into A Free Solution. What's on your mind?
Well, considering what you're discussing, I thought I might tell you that you should really consider the first recorded school shooting, with a mass shooting. And that was in a classroom, I believe, with 21 children. And when this fella came in and pulled his gun, there were 21 shots fired, and that was the end of the situation. He dropped.
Yeah. So sorry. Could you?
That was the first school shooting, the first recorded one.
Is that the shooting didn't happen? I'm sorry. Could you explain a little bit more?
The shooting happened. Everyone in the classroom, every child in the classroom shot him.
Every child shot. Could you give some more details on this?
Well, that's all I can remember. It's been a long
okay.
time.
Yeah, I mean, if you have more details on it, be happy to look it up and see what happened.
I just think if you're going to talk about whether or not there should be SWAT teams or whatever there, somebody should be there armed. We don't want the kids to have to bring their own guns in school like they did in those days.
No, that's probably not the best solution. I mean, in Texas, teachers are allowed to carry in the classrooms. Like you can get permission to do that. But of course, not every teacher is going to do that. And again, I don't want schools to feel any more like prisons than they already do. And if they start doing more of that, it may have the unintended consequence, for better or worse, of driving people out of the public school system, which, I'm already disinclined to send my kid there. But the more these schools feel like institutions where every aspect of what they do is curtailed and limited, I don't know that that's healthy for engendering a culture of freedom here in the United States.
Well, do you think Biden feels like he's in prison? Because he's protected, he's surrounded by protection all the time. Do you think anybody that's surrounded by protection all the time feels like they're in a prison?
I think the president of the United States is in a somewhat different situations than school kids.
I don't care who it is. If they feel they're protected all the time and they know it, do you think they feel like they're in prison?
I think it probably depends on the situation. Again, like your vision for this is like what the men in SWAT gear with rifles walking around the hallways of elementary schools and walking through metal detectors in every entrance, like, which again wouldn't have stopped the shooter in this case. The shooter is not going to be stopped by a metal detector. It's a lot of times what happens in these situations where you introduce more police officers to schools. This school had a police officer, had a school resource officer at it who failed to stop the shooter.
I would prefer that the teachers were armed.
Okay, again, they had that option in Texas. So it's not.
This gun-free zone doesn't work.
They had that option in Texas already. Again, I'm not against that. I'm just saying that was what already existed here. So we need to dig deep and find more solutions to this. I don't think it's that simple. And again, I would not want to send my kids to a school that looks like the conservative vision for this.
We've got to consider that's political. Back in the 70s, late 60s and the early 70s, we used to have places around here. There was a place called Willard, and that's where people that had mental problems could go and stay. Now, they weren't forced to stay there, but this is where we put people that were having mental problems. And when the ACLU decided to try to get them set free from these places, get the people out of there, I talked to a girl who was staying there, and she told me that she loved it there, and they kept her medicated so that she could be like a normal person and everything, and she loved it there. But we shut that place down, and we shut all those kind of places down across the country, and that's what. Now these people are all homeless. She ended up homeless, and they all end up homeless, and they don't get their medications, and they go nuts.
Yeah.
These type of people who do these things are totally insane. It's not a matter of whether or not it's just somebody who gets upset.
Yeah, that was it. I think that's a good place to leave it. Though, is like you're right. Mental health support needs to be there, and identify the need for mental health intervention in some of these cases, because there are some signs with both these things. I do want to get to another phone call before we have to head the break again. Gary from Hilton. Gary, what's on your mind? You got a couple minutes.
Hey, Kevin. I just wanted to say that, the guns have been around for a long time. When I was in elementary school, the kids on the rifle team carried their 22 rifles on the bus to school when they had a meet. Nobody shot each other. The thing that's changed is these kids, for whatever reason, they're, whether it's they grow up without a father figure to set them on the right path, or they, show signs of hyperactivity, so they put them on some kind of Ritalin or other type of drug, and then they get off of the drug. There's a number of things, but you're going to have to stop it with the shooters themselves, and they all have warning signs that are ignored. If you go down through the last few real high-profile ones, the kid in Newtown, Connecticut, he had printouts of spreadsheets on his bedroom wall ranking other school shooters.
Yeah.
He killed his mother. At Marjorie Stoneham Douglas High School, that kid had 39 encounters with the police. He had posted that he wanted to be a school shooter. 2 people called the FBI. Everybody ignored it.
Yeah, and as I understand, the last
situation,
two had gotten caught. The last 2 had gotten caught torturing animals. Like both of them,
yeah,
had gotten caught doing that. Like it's a
they
major
all have
sign.
They all have warning signs that are ignored by the people around them, and that's the easiest part of this to solve. You know, that same day there was millions of kids that were 18 years old that had access to an AR-15 that didn't go shoot up a school.
Yeah,
and that's, you know, it's such a small minority of the people, and it's such a tragedy when it happens that, you know, well, the last time in Newtown, Connecticut, we got the SAFE Act. A couple other shootings, we got the red flag laws. None of that stopped the Buffalo shooter, even though if there was ever an occasion for a red flag law being called out on somebody, that was it. He was involuntarily committed for a mental exam after he threatened shooting up the school. So if you ignore all those things, and then you turn around and have a knee-jerk reaction like our politicians do that, well, we're going to ban this and we're going to ban that, and we're going to, you know, go after the legal gun owners, the guy that could be standing next to you in line at the supermarket carrying concealed legally, that takes out the shooter when they come in and start shooting the place up. But, you know, instead they advertise gun-free zones. Well, that's just a killing zone for these guys. They search them out. And the last point I want to make is the Buffalo shooter said that he picked New York as a good target because of our SAFE Act and our tough gun laws, that it would limit any legally carrying citizen that he might encounter after he left the store and went down Jefferson Avenue to 10 rounds in their gun, so they would, you know, be outgunned by him who was carrying 30 rounds illegally. Yeah. So our politicians should keep that in mind. Like, whose side are you on? The law-abiding, patriotic Americans that believe in our Constitution, or the shooters making it easier for them?
Yeah, Gary, you made a ton of good points there. Brought up a ton of great stuff. So I really appreciate your call. Again, folks listening today, give us a call, 585-346-3000. That's 585-346-3000. If you too want to participate in the discussion, we're going to be back here on A Free Solution in just a few minutes.
The WYSL store is now open. With nicer weather, your car needs an official Voice of Liberty bumper sticker. There's a great selection to help you show your love of God, the Constitution, and free and safe schools. Here are just a few available. Shut Up, Fauci, Kathy Hochul, Save America, Support the Second Amendment, Scam Alert, January 6th, God, Please Help Us, Close the Mexican Border, Save America, Stop Voting for Democrats. And there are gas pump stickers reading, Democrats Did This. These are standard weather-resistant bumper stickers guaranteed to get you horn honks and thumbs up in traffic. Choose from other locally made WYSL Voice of Liberty merch too, like tees, hoodies, drinkware, and more. Perfect gifts for any Liberty lover. Check out the exclusive WYSL Mount Worstmore shirts, hoodies, and coffee mugs depicting our 4 worst presidents. Guess who's front and center? Shop the WYSL store at WYSL1040.com.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
There's a place in the village of Avon you and your critters will love. Whether they're big or small, whether they've got hair, fur, or feathers, Avon Feed fits every need. There's a full selection of pet foods, bird feeders, and wild bird food, plus garden tools, quality grass seed, and a great selection of dry shod boots. Buy 10 bags of quality wild bird food, get the next bag free. Choose farm feeds and great equine products from Poland Grains. Find everything for your pet from feeding bowls to toys, leads, collars, beds, crates, and tie-outs. Avon Feed and Supply has what the big pet chain stores will never have: Tim Cole and his great knowledgeable staff. Choose from premium local products like Firefly, dairy, goat soaps, and lotions. While you're at Avon Feed, don't forget your two-legged pets with River at Thousand Island cheese and great flavors, including the new 12-year-old cheddar, plus Chef James bourbon meat sauce, once again nut butters and Nunday mustards. Open weekdays 9 to 6, Saturday 9 to 4. Avon Feed and Supply, West Main Street at the bottom of the hill, just west of the Circle.
A free solution on the WYSL stations.
Welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host today. Thanks again for joining us. Again, we're live here on WYSL until 2 o'clock. Give us a call if you want to participate in the show, 585-346-3000. That's 585-346-3000. Or leave your comments online. The Free Solution Facebook page, Free Solution YouTube channel, or the Kevin Wilson pages, wherever you're listening today. And but appreciate the callers, Douglas and Gary calling in last segment. I want to get to some of these online comments too. Tim O'Connor on Facebook says, you probably know this, but the Uvalde Police Department has stopped cooperating with the ongoing investigation. Yeah, and the school too, apparently. I saw the ABC News report on that. And again, I don't know. I'm seething about, like, every time I read about it, I'm so mad at what happened in the cowardice shown by them. And then again, to me, I'm like, I see the situation that more police are not necessarily the solution to this, because we've seen it happen in a couple situations that having police officers there only matters if they're actually going to intervene, and they didn't. And I think everyone, especially the families of that school, deserve answers as to what the heck happened in that situation. A few other ones too. John on Facebook says, man, the president's children always said they felt like they're in prison. Man tried to ditch security. That's true, man. You hear some stories about that, because they always have bodyguards around them. Again, I think presidential situations are a little bit different, having bodyguards around folks. And again, this isn't me being against some individuals being armed in a school situation, right? Like, I'm actually fine if certain teachers want to get armed. I think you should have a process for deciding what teachers are going to do that and how you secure your weapon, because you don't want to have, as I talked about in the beginning of the show, you don't want to have unsecured weapons in the school too, especially you have a kid who may not have access to firearms, but that becomes their access, and then they hurt someone because of it. No, like, again, there has to be some responsibility and process involved in what teachers get to carry, but I'm not against it as a whole. Shelly's on YouTube says, deinstitutionalization has created major homelessness and drug use as they attempt to self-medicate. Mental health problems. I think there's an ugly history of forced institutionalization that needs to be balanced with a very real need for mental health intervention and access to voluntary services. And trying to figure out the best way to do that and the best way to pay for it is important. And education on mental health from both a self-help advocacy side and from an intervention side through the institution that kids and adults at risk are interacting with is important. Again, I worked in that space for a bit too, not as a mental health counselor myself, as a kind of communications and fundraising person. So this is something that's important to me. John left a longer comment too, which you'll have to go to the Facebook page to read the whole thing, but talks about some of the other mass shootings in history, some of which were committed by our government. The Army soldiers killing 200 Lakota Native Americans at Wounded Knee, the Tulsa, Oklahoma, riots that happened in the 1920s, where there was, gun battles between kind of overmatched white citizens and African Americans for the what's called Black Wall Street at the time. Again, we've done a show on that too. So there have been other mass shootings throughout history. And one more comment from John says, there's no one solution to any act of violence. There's no quick fix. It took society a long time to reach this point that we're at. Again, I did make this point last segment too. We are, as a whole, far less violent than we used to be. Like way, way, way less violent. And it takes persistent cultural change. These types of incidents now are out of the norm. They're out of the ordinary. Situations where there's mass violence, mass bloodshed, riots, they are rare, and they draw our attention. It doesn't make them any less horrifying when it happens, but they're relatively rare. People who are and it could go back. People who are in a relatively comfortable position in their life, they're less likely to commit acts of violence. The poverty, desperation, or mental instability, like there's a whole bunch of factors that might go into someone doing that. It's just less likely to happen today, and thank God for that. But it is possible that could switch, and we have to continually be vigilant about promoting a culture that discourages violence, that makes sure we understand how ugly it is. And Brian on Facebook says, the main thing is that there's no centralized solution will stop evil. Leave the decisions on how to protect the schools at a local level. I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe that's something that, to me, I take the situation that we see in Texas and we see, everywhere else, is that you have to take responsibility for your own safety too. Again, it's not to say that the state shouldn't do anything to try to keep people safe or intervene and prevent these situations. It's that you need to be responsible for your own safety too, and you need to be your best advocate for keeping you and your family safe. And part of doing that is making sure that you are exercising your right to self-defense and having situational awareness. This isn't a blame for the victims in any way. It's just we see that the enforcement arm in the state, the police, aren't necessarily going to be there to protect you. And even when they are there, even when they are present and engaged with the shooter, they have no legal obligation to protect you. There's a Supreme Court case on this, Council Rock v. I think Gonzalez is the court case, where they're trying to enforce, where a woman was trying to get the police to enforce a restraining order against her husband who had taken her kids, and the husband ended up killing the 3 children and getting in a shootout with police. Well, she had begged all evening for the police to intervene and save her kids. Even though they were supposed to enforce that restraining order, they did not. They faced no punishment for that. The police have no legal obligation to protect you. Again, this isn't criticizing any individual police officer who may intervene, who may be a hero, who has the courage to go and save kids. I'm not blanket doing, but they have no legal obligation to do so. And so some police officers, knowing this, are going to worry about protecting themselves over protecting others. Unfortunately, that's what happened in Texas. Now, folks, I didn't end up getting to a lot of the stuff that I wanted to talk about today. Maybe we'll get to some of that on Monday. The social media laws, the abortion stuff, the birth control stuff, interesting legislation that we're seeing come through. So, we'll do a little bit more about this on Monday. But again, I appreciate all the comments, all the phone calls that we got today. I thank you so much for listening and participating in the discussion. That's what makes it interesting. And again, we're going to figure this out together. We're going to figure out some of the better ways, the best ways to advocate for safety for ourselves, for school children, and for everyone while maintaining our liberty. Thanks again for joining us. Have a wonderful week, folks. Take care.